We know former advisors to the president have been under investigation, but now there's a current advisor who appears to be a person of interest. What do we know about that?
There's a lot of speculation about who that person may be, and we don't know exactly who it is. Jared Kushner is the name that keeps coming up again and again. But a person of interest means that they have information that investigators are interested in. So they could be called on, they could be questioned. They're not necessarily the target of the probe themselves.
So as this cloud hangs over the administration, what can you tell us about the opportunities? You know, a lot of times when there's domestic problems for the White House, they turn to foreign. The timing of this trip probably couldn't have been any better for this White House. But what can you tell us about this foreign trip?
Well, it is perfectly timed, and you saw some of the great images coming from Saudi Arabia, some of the pomp and circumstance of the welcoming ceremony. You know, it looks very official. It looks like the president is out there and he's doing things. And what Rex Tillerson just said about business deals is fantastic. But there's the opportunity for gaffes there, and I think that's what everyone's sort of watching and holding their breath. And even when you see Rex Tillerson talking about Iran and human rights in Saudi Arabia, it's a little jarring. I don't know if you saw that last question someone tried to ask him as he left was, when will women be allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia? So it's walking this knife's edge between providing a distraction from what's going on in Washington and potentially causing its own controversies.
Yeah, I did hear that question. I want to ask you as well about the Democrats. They're sort of drawing this battle line over the top candidate for FBI director as well, and former Senator Joe Lieberman amongst those in the running were heard. But what can you tell us about that? And is Lieberman really a candidate?
Lieberman was the top candidate and was expected to be announced as soon as last Friday, before the trip. And the fact that it didn't happen is a sign of how hard Democrats are already pushing back against him. He's a career politician. He's also not somebody that would traditionally be an FBI head. His law firm has represented Trump for more than a decade. He's also 75 years old. This is a 10-year position. So he's not, in many ways, you know, nominating a Democrat could be seen as sort of trying to find someone that everyone could like, but he's not. He's not that person.
And what can you tell us? We know that in the healthcare front that there's going to be a congressional budget office. They're going to be scoring the healthcare plan. What can you tell us about that? And is this likely to be really pushed forward?
Because the new healthcare plan is even more draconian in sort of the ways that it could potentially cut healthcare for people, that score isn't expected to be very good. So when that does come out, probably we're going to see a whole nother round of criticism of the plan itself, which is going to mean that it's not a great way for the Republicans to advance any of their legislative agenda, even with the president away.
And Heather, as we look forward in the domestic politics front, what else can you tell us about what the president will be up against when he returns home?
Well, there's the investigation. There's a growing sense among Republicans on Capitol Hill that there are so many self-imposed problems with this White House that it's making it impossible for them to get anything done. So you're finding them being very frustrated and very upset. And we saw Lindsey Graham say before this trip, you know, I bet the president's glad he's going away, but we're pretty glad too. I mean, and this is sort of a public, open sentiment right now where people are saying this White House needs to get it together. Things are in a downward spiral. So when he comes back, he's going to have to demonstrate that beside the investigations, which are going to go on for a long time, that he can get some things done on Capitol Hill.
Heather Timmons with Quartz, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.